Most Honorable President of the book launch function, Professor M.R. Rao sir, and other revered gurus of management education, esteemed executive board members and the past presidents of AIMS, respected invitees, other dignitaries of the book launch function today, good evening all of you.
Good evening.
On behalf of Association of Indian Management Schools, I deem it a privilege to conduct the proceedings as a moderator for the most exciting event.
Yeah, unique event.
Before proceeding to the schedule, I wish to introduce Professor Masood Ahmed to the audience.
Yeah.
Professor Masood is currently serving as the Secretary of the Association of Health and Hospital Administrators, AHA. He is a guest and visiting professor for more than 20 institutions in India and abroad. He has been organizing several innovative and exciting programs such as lifestyle management, management lessons from poetry, mythology, Bollywood, etc. He is much known for the uniqueness in designing and delivering the sessions in the most humorous yet impacting and leaving an indelible mark on the audience. He has held several administrative positions in both academic and professional bodies of national and international reputation, such as Director, Indo-US Hospital for 4 years, Principal, Deccan School of Management for more than 20 years, President, Association of Indian Management Schools, and Treasurer, ISTD. He was also a member of several advisory bodies of academic and professional bodies like AMDISA, Association of Management Development in South Asia. As president of AIMS, he has organized several FDPs while closely associating with Professor Y.K. Bhushanji and Professor M.R. Rao sir as resource persons. A total of 15 FDPs benefiting about 1,120 faculty members from 312 institutions have been conducted like a national movement in management education.
That's right.
Another unique initiative of Professor Masood is organizing a 100 lecture series known as Know Your Nation, covering the essential dimensions such as economy, education, employment, social and cultural aspects. These lectures are delivered to benefit the students, faculty members of science, technology, engineering, management, arts, commerce, medicine, and other life sciences in India and in few other foreign countries also. So far, he has completed 99 lectures on Know Your Nation, and the final one is awaited. He is an extensive traveler and scholar in management education. He visited top-class institutions and schools in several countries, namely US, UK, France, Australia, Hungary, Czech Republic, Slovakia, Austria, Malaysia, UAE, Thailand, Maldives, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Jordan, Oman, Qatar, Nepal, and Bangladesh. Professor Masood has a brilliant academic background with 6 postgraduate degrees in management, commerce, economics, psychology, and public health. He is also actively pursuing his research work for the award of the degree of PhD. Esteemed professionals, you may join now me in congratulating such an outstanding professional for writing a book based on poetry. That is management lessons from poetry. The contents of the book are self-explanatory. Professor Masood has developed a set of management insights and thoughts. They are mentioned at the beginning of each chapter to provide orientation to the readers about the basic management concepts. The book's essential takeaways are management thoughts, which have a remarkable effect on the new age business functions, such as organizational immunity, die-hard organizations, reversing the enemy, hyper-communication, and management magic. I'm sure that the book readers may enjoy and refer the same among their colleagues and other professionals to take the insights forward and spread their learning experiences. Now, I request the President of Association of Indian Management Schools, Professor Sujata Mangaraj, the Dean cum Director of Bhavan's School of Management, Bhubaneswar, and another uniqueness of the great lady is a third lady president of AIMS and who has been served for the last year and continuing the second term as the president. We are all very happy that she has agreed to continue as the president because of the pandemic situation prevailing in the country and in the world. Now, over to you, Professor Sujata, madam, please.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. And the Honorable President of today's session, book release session, Professor Emma Rao, sir, the former President of AIMS and former Dean ISB Hyderabad. And we have with us our most revered management guru, Professor Y.K. Bhushan, sir, the former President of AIMS and former Director, NMIMS, and very dynamic our former President of AIMS, Revered Professor Dr. Uday Salunke, sir, the Group Director of V School, esteemed Professor Masood Ahmed, sir, again the former President of AIMS, Secretary AHA, and star of this evening, the author of the book, Management Lessons from Poetry. We have with us a very well-known personality, Revered Dr. H. Chaturbedi, sir, the Director of BIMTech, respected Dr. Shakti Kumar Gupta, the Medical Superintendent of AIMS, esteemed Mr. D.N.B. Kumar Guru, the Director of External Relations, ISV, respected Sri Bala Maladi, CEO of Act FiberNet. Our most revered past presidents, I could see our Upinder Dhar sir, Bhagat sir, Shefali madam, my esteemed executive board members of AIMS, and the executive secretary led by the Mr. M. Venkateshwar from office of Pune as well as Hyderabad, revered participants, deans, directors of different business schools, a very good evening and greetings from Association of Indian Management Schools. I know almost all of us present here know about AIMS, but still I have been given the responsibility to speak few words about AIMS. It's really my honor and great privilege to introduce to all the esteemed members about Association of Indian Management Schools to this August gathering. Association of Indian Management Schools is a 32-year-old networking body of business schools in India with a very, very pragmatic vision to uphold the interest of business education and contributing towards quality improvement in a very, very, very continuous and rigorous basis. With around 800 institutional members comprising of top-ranking business schools of national and international repute in India, it is one of the largest professional associations in the world involved in policy advocacy, encouraging and financing academic research, conferences, seminars, workshops, faculty development programs, and dissemination of relevant knowledge to all its stakeholders in the sphere of management education. It is the official representative of business schools both at national and international level, having reciprocal membership with the Accreditation Council for Business Schools and Programs, ACBSP, ACSB, AMDISA, EFMD, and others. Amidst this unforeseen disaster like COVID-19, this large academic conglomerate dedicated to the purpose of enhancing the quality of management education has integrated itself with its member institutions and professional forums and could able to successfully complete 35 webinars, faculty development programs, case writing workshops during this pandemic. Its flagship program, the 32nd AIMS Annual Management Education Convention, scheduled to be held during August 2021, will be enriched with 5 plenary sessions focusing on topics of current interest, a doctoral colloquium for the first time, marketplace simulation workshop, global accreditation workshop, directors roundtable, CEO panel, best research paper presentations, along with the usual inaugural and valedictory sessions. This year, the main theme of the convention is rediscovering management education for the pandemic world, the roadmap ahead. The convention also has about 10 competitions to recognize the contribution of heads of the institutions, the deans and directors, faculty members, research scholars, and students to win AIMS prestigious awards like We School Innovation Award, Best Faculty Research Paper Award, Best Dean and Director Award, Best Teacher Award, Best Young Teacher Award, Best Case Study, Best Student Research Paper, National Management Week Celebration, and so on, in addition to the Robbie J. Mathai National Fellow Award for outstanding contribution in the field of management education in the shape of medals, mementos, citation, and trophies, etc. Further, the convention will recognize the best research papers and the best doctoral proposals also. The convention speakers and delegates comprise of national and international personalities, government and policy-making dignitaries, bureaucrats, industry and institutional representatives, faculty members, researchers, and students. I take this opportunity to invite all the esteemed dignitaries present here to join the convention and make it a grand success. Sir, as all of you, madam, as all of you know, that business education is undergoing a continuous change in the pursuit of excellence and delivery of values. Business has become more complex and competitive. Working environments have witnessed numerous changes from uniformity to diversity, individual work to teamwork, horizontal to vertical organization structure, external control to self-control, supervision to motivational leadership, physical to digital, fixed timetable to flexible hours of work, hard work to smart work, and boundaryless work. While following the path of change, situations compel business schools to resort to new perspective of leadership and prepare the future managers to confront the challenges of global businesses. The newly emerging educational universe calls for new institutional arrangements, recalibrating the business educational models and replacing those that have become obsolete for the current industry norms. The top business schools of the world are preparing themselves to make strategic choices amongst the different knowledge domains and the accompanying delivery system, keeping in mind the competitive positioning of the institution. It is in this context, the book titled Management Lessons from Poetry, authored by our own Professor Masood Ahmed sir, is based on contemporary thoughts and unique ways of teaching, learning, pedagogy, and process. I know Professor Masood sir for last 2 decades in his association with the AIMS, in his association with the ISTD, and in many more occasions. Every time I find him with a creative pursuit, with innovative approach, with proactive thought process, with futuristic views, and very, very uniqueness in his delivery through use of poetic exuberance. His commendable initiative of conducting 99 lectures out of the 100 of Know the Nation series for the future leaders of the country is a true patriotic contribution of Professor Masood sir. It is noteworthy to mention here that during his tenure as the president of AIMS, Professor Masood sir initiated the Management Week celebration by business schools that depicts his innovative thought process to nurture the creative potential of business school students as well as faculty members. The book is a new initiative of presenting management concepts in a poetic form with well-interpreted applications. While each verse of the book is very, very thought-provoking, two verses attracted my attention. I was just going through my area is OB and HR. And I think he started with, he has given HRM, recruitment, appraisal, a lot of things, but two verses, that is envy within you in page number 24 and the art of reversing the envy in page number 27, that really remind me the verses of the well-known poet Kabir, who said, I do not know how to speak Hindi well, but still I could guess that Kabirji in his poet has written, Bura jo dekhne mein chala, bura na milya koi, jo dil khoja apna, mujhsa bura na koi. Meaning, I searched for deficiencies in my people around me, but I could not find any. When I had a self-introspection, I could find deficiencies in me. It matches very well with the aforesaid lessons of Professor Masood sir's book, that is, be aware of the enemy within you and develop the abilities to transform the worst enemies as the best friend. Sir, I bow down, Masood sir, my head before you for your management profession, for your pragmatic vision, creative representation, and your love and dedication for the management profession, as well as for the management fraternity. This contribution of yours will go a long way in remembering the management guru within you. Heartiest congratulations to you, sir, for your magic touch of converting poetry into management thoughts and making the teaching learning process more enriching, enjoyable, and memorable. With this, on behalf of all the executive board members of AIMS and all the member institutions of AIMS, I extend a heartfelt appreciation and my admiration to you. Thank you, and thank you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Professor Sujata Madam, for placing on record about the growth, the development, and various events being conducted by the Association of Indian Management Schools. Friends, I'm really very happy to introduce another gentleman who does not require any kind of introduction. I think by this time you might have guessed. He is none other than Professor M.R. Rao, sir. Professor M.R. Rao is former president of AIMS and also the former dean, Indian School of Business. And I request now to offer his presidential address on this special occasion. Professor M.R. Rao, sir, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Loud and clear.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. Nice to see so many colleagues in this function. It's a very nice function, organized. Of course, I known Masood. Originally I was to be at the tail end. I felt that if I come at the tail end, I would have nothing to say. So that it's better to be more in the front. But I find even Sujata took off some of my thoughts. So it's better to be number two rather than in the end, I guess. I have known Masood for a long time, as you would have guessed from the forward. I had written the forward for this book. I've known him for almost 2 decades or more, from my days in IIM Bangalore. And one thing about Masood is always is nice to talk to him. He always asks for advice, but he will never follow it. He will do the opposite. Sometimes I think whether he asks for advice so that he can do the opposite. I don't know. I don't want to go into some of the details, but I can at least indicate 2 or 3 instances where he did not follow my advice at all. Maybe for the better, I don't know. We will know in the longer term. But he was Soon after he became the president of AIMS, or even slightly before, I used to tell him, and I still tell people, that all of us, we are from sort of the good institutions in India, let me put it quote unquote, good institutions. Most of us, or all of us actually. But uplifting the smaller institutes, we've started doing something now in AIMS over the last few years, but it was not much there before. We all used to meet and we will talk about, about global recognition, that kind of thing. It's good. I'm not saying we shouldn't talk about that, but about doing something for the other schools which are in small towns and so on. So, of course, I was mentioning this to Masood quite a few times and so on. But me and my big mouth, I guess, soon after I became the president, he told me, "You've been telling me all this, so come on, let us go." Let us go to all the small towns, and that's how I.K. Bhushan was also roped in, and we had to. I could not say no, having been complaining to him about that. So I came to know him a lot during that time. We traveled all over the country, south, north, east, west, and so on. Because by plane, by car, and so on. So I came to know of his passion for poems also, but I never thought that he would convert that into management thoughts. But it was a good experience. And I think he did a lot as a president to promote management education in the smaller towns and so on. But one thing also, Management Week, as our president, Sujata Mangaraj, said, Management Week is his brainchild. But you don't know part of the story. I'll tell that story. Suddenly one day during his presidency, he called me. He said, I wanted to have a management week and so on. I used to talk to him quite often then. I said, that's a good idea, but you have to decide which week and so on. He said, some 1 week, he said, in June. It's good, July or August, I think, something like that. And he wanted to go on Rath Yatra from Hyderabad to Delhi and go promoting Management Week. He asked me to come. I said, I won't come, but you go ahead and so on. So that was his idea of getting started. I thought he won't do anything further, but he did get started. And that's a very good initiative of his. I think we all should be thankful to him for starting this Management Week. It's got a lot of traction in a lot of colleges and so on. So when he asked me to write the foreword for this book, I said, I don't know anything about poems. How do I do anything about it? He said, no, don't worry. I'm giving a poetic translation for people like you. He said, who don't understand. I said, okay, good. Otherwise, I won't be able to write anything because I don't understand any of these poems. This is a good experience reading the book. Yeah, of course, as you see, the book looks very big, but each page is like you can read like a quarter page or something like that, equivalent to time. But it's very nicely written, a lot of thoughts and so on. Sujata Mangaraj said, she liked some parts. The best part I like is his management, the last chapter, I think, if I'm not mistaken, which says New Thoughts in Management. So he has come up with some new ideas. Let me just read some of that. He calls it organizational immunity, die-hard organization, reversing the enemy, hyper communication, management magic. These are some of the things that he is fond of, or his ideas, and I was very glad to see that. And it was very nice. I thought it was a very good idea that he has come up with some new ideas as well, and so on. Of course, Masood is a HR person, so the book is long on HR and OB and so on, a bit short on finance. Marketing, it has about 2 chapters, I think. Finance, 1 chapter. Operations is only 1 on project management and so on. So I told him that, and I said, you should write a sequel to this, covering all the other topics in much more detail. It covers all the topics, but and so on. I like the book. I think it's a must read for those who are interested in management education as such. Of course, if you're already into it and so on, you might not find something new, except the last chapter I mentioned about his contributions. But it's a very well written, very well organized book, and I found it very nice and I enjoyed reading it. I recommend to all to read that. And of course, I hope we will have a sequel to this covering some of the topics that are not covered in great detail here. So with this, I congratulate Masood for a book well written. I was jokingly asking him whether those writing the foreword also will get to share in the royalties. He said, no way. So anyway, I wish you all the best, Masood, and good luck. And I'm sure the book will be one of the best sellers. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Prof. Remar, sir. We are very much happy to have you on this occasion and sharing your thoughts about this book, and also Professor Masood. We are very much grateful to you. Now, I'm very happy to introduce another great gentleman who sits, in the capital of the city, capital of the country, and very well networked gentleman. He is a thorough gentleman. He is ever ready for any kind of, help to the member institutions or, friends and other professionals. He is none other than Professor Harivansh Chaturvediji. He is a director, BIMTech, to talk about the book's academic perspective. Professor Chaturvediji, please.
Thank you, S.S. Prasad Rao Garu. My deep respect to legends of management education who are present in this book releasing function, Professor M.R. Rao and Professor Y.K. Bhushan. They have seen the management education, its evolution for last 60 years. So by talking to them, listening to them, we always feel connected with the rich legacy and history of Indian management education. My dear friends, Professor Uday Salukhe, the author, Professor Masood Ahmed Sahab, President of AIMS, Dr. Sujata Mangaraj, Mr. D.N.V. Kumar Garu, Dr. Shakti Kumar Gupta, Medical Superintendent AIMS, and I find that there are many friends whom I knew for long time, Dr. Upinder Dhar, Dr. Bhagat, Dr. Sefali Gautam, Dr. Ratan Sharma. I give my salutation to all of them. And I would just like to connect myself with this book by talking about why poetry is so much important for management education, corporate training, and leadership success in India. When I talk about India, the cultural context of India is very important. And I think management educators have given some attention to this context. But here I would like to just list out the very big contribution made by poetry in Indian society and Indian culture for the last several thousand years. All Indian religions used poetry and music, be it Hindu, Dharma, Buddhist religion or Sikh religion, Jain religion. Ramayana and Mahabharata, which are two big epics, deeply influenced Indian psyche and thought process. You will find its impact not only in India, but whole Indian subcontinent in Southeast Asia. Society respects saints, poets, ballads. Example I can give from all parts of India. From the Hindi belt, Kabir, Sur, Meera, Tulsidas, Raidas. From Maharashtra, Sant Gyaneshwar, Sant Tukaram. From Karnataka, Baswarna. From Tamil Nadu, Thiruvalluvar. From Bengal, Chandidas and Jayadev. And Hyderabad, from where Masood Sahab comes, he, the very renowned poet of the Urdu, the first few poet, I think the founder of Ghazal or Urdu poetry is Wali Ahmed Wali, whose time period was 16th to 17th century. He is also popularly known as Wali Dakhini. And at his last days, he was shifted to Gujarat He died at Ahmedabad. There was a tomb which was destroyed during the riots of 2002. In Punjab, Bulle Shah, Baba Farid, and I would especially mention Guru Nanak when he thought about starting a new path for spiritual salvation. He thought about Guru Granth Sahib writing a book. It was a composition of poems written by many poets, including Kabir and Raidas and Meera. Then I would like to say that the Urdu, which was used to be called as Rekhta earliest times, it has provided a rich tapestry of India's culture during the decline of Mughal Empire and rise of East India Company. Jafar, Dag Dehlavi, Mir Taqi Mir, Ghalib, Jok, Nazir Devardi, illustrious poets which have provided a very rich literature in Urdu poetry. Freedom movement, writers and poets have played a very important role. Now India's soft culture is being felt in all nook and corners of the world during 21st century. You would like that people like Bollywood films. In what way Bollywood films are different from Hollywood? Only in the productions of films, number of films, only Bollywood can match with the productions or size of Hollywood. The unique feature of Bollywood films is songs and dances and music. And Hollywood is not having songs. And you would be amazed to know that Berkeley Music College in USA has been doing research on the music of A.R. Rahman. So this is the soft power of India, which is using poetry very beautifully. There are other also soft powers sources like yoga, classical dances, our democracy. But I think now management and engineering education have also become the soft power of India. We find that the Indians are leading the world's topmost universities and B schools. Harvard is the prime example. Last 10 years, Dr. Nitin Neoria has been the dean, and the next dean will also be an Indian, Professor Srikant Datar. So I think that India's soft culture is very important, but this soft culture has to reinvent its identity in 21st century by creating an Indian idiom or Indian flavor or an Indian perspective of management. Now, Professor Masood has done very good thing. He has been doing so many good things. I remember that I have attended so many conferences in India and outside India. A few conferences I have attended of AIMS also. I remembered only one conference which has been very impressive, and it was organized by Professor Masood a few years back at Hyderabad in Convention Center, and there were hundreds of people coming from all over India, and it was a great accomplishment that he could involve all people from India. And I remember that in the evening when dinner was hosted by him, he has provided an entertainment program giving the cultural literary background of Hyderabad. Some poets recited the poetry, Urdu poetry, some martial arts demonstrations were held. And I remember the sweet dish particularly made by Anjeer. Anjeer is a fruit mostly found in Hyderabad and nearby Hyderabad. And I have never found that fruit, that sweet dish in any in India. So Masood Saab has his unique feature. And one interesting episode was that when group photograph was taken, all the gentlemen and leading deans and directors, they were in the Hyderabadi Sherwani and Achkan, and it was made possible by his imaginative mind that 1 month before he has taken measurements of the shoulders of all the people and got stitched Sherwani and Achkan at Hyderabad. Thank you, Masood Saab. You are great, and you know how to respect other people, how to love other people. So I think your book will also provide this backdrop, and it will be welcomed by the management educators, because this book will be very helpful to create a new idiom of management in our country, because now during the post-pandemic era, there will be requirement of redefining every aspect of management. Most likely, most important is leadership, redefining leadership. And leadership cannot be like the model propounded by Jack Welch and charismatic leadership or the efficiency based leadership. It will be a leadership which will use empathy and human touch. Because pandemics will come and go. And pandemics, this COVID pandemic has put a mirror, as Ajim Premji has recently said in FICCI 93rd Annual General Meeting, that a mirror has been put on the global society, that we have what kind of glaring inequalities, what kind of weaknesses our public health system, what kind of misery and what kind of poverty is existing in 21st century. So I think the poetry, Urdu poetry used by him, I think it is matchless. Every language has its own poetry, but I think the Andaze Baya of Urdu poetry is, you will not find any match, because the whole idea of Urdu poetry is Andaze Baya, the way a small thing is said, that it becomes a legend in the cultural history. So I would like to say that the management educators will find some inspiration to use literature and poetry. I have been buying books, reading books. I have never found many books. Only one book I have found. One author has written, the Using Kabir in Management. No other book on poetry I have found. Only IIM Ahmedabad has been using Mahabharata and Ramayana for teaching leadership. No other leading business school, to my best of knowledge, is using literature. So I think the liberal arts is coming. There is a revival of liberal arts, and some universities have been established in our country. Asoka University prominently using liberal arts, and national education policy is giving this idea that standalone management education or any standalone college will not be able to survive in the coming decade, and there will be need for multidisciplinary institutions. And so all institutions, including management institutions, will have to introduce new faculties, new subjects. I think the literature or the poetry, or particularly Urdu poetry or Hindi poetry, or the poetry of Tamil or Telugu or Kannada or Marathi or Bengali will be taught in Management Institute. That will be a great time, and that will give a lot of insights to the management professionals and management educators how to address their constituency. With these words, I compliment the great work done by Professor Masood. I wish him good luck. I wish for the success of this book, and I hope that this function will give a lot of impetus to Professor Masood Ahmed Saab, that he should continue to do innovative things like this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Harivansh Chaturvedi ji, for taking all of us to the year 2012 for the National Convention, done in a very, very innovative way. And everyone was excited. Even everyone is cherishing those moments even today. Very happy to hear from you and your insights. And I'm sure every one of us will cherish these experiences also forever. Thank you so much. Now, I am very happy to invite another exciting gentleman. He is a thought leader in management education and an institution builder who has been he is a favorite teacher come leader. He is none other than Professor Uday Salunke. Professor Uday Salunke is the former president of AIMS and the group director of Wellinger Institutions. I now request Professor Uday sir, please share your thoughts and insights about this book. Please, sir.
Hello, namaste. It's good to be here in this very unique function of, I'll say, AIMS, and it's great to be here. Our dear family member, center of attraction for today, right? Who's you can say that he's a very versatile personality, and he's known to me for more than 2 decades. It's a different journey altogether with Masood bhai. Definitely, I'll come to that point in just very shortly. President AIMS, Professor Sujata Mangaraj ji, our own very senior our kind of Bhishma Pitama of management fraternity, Professor Y.K. Bhushan sir. Equally taller personality, who's also been my mentor all the time. We look forward to him. Professor M.R. Rao sir, Professor Shekhar Chaudhary ji, Professor Chaturvedi ji, who's again as represents from Capital, Professor Upinder ji, Dr. Shakti Kumar Gupta ji, my other colleagues from board, past presidents, DY sir, Ajit sir, Apurva ma'am, Jitendra Mishra ji, Parag sir, Venkateshwar ji, Dr. Shakti Kumar Gupta ji, who's again our mentor in different sphere altogether, from AIMS. There are, I'm sure everybody is there from India and overseas as well. And Kumar Garu ji, Kumar is here, could see after a long time. Our friends from Bangladesh and Pakistan who are there, we couldn't see everybody like here, but all of them have spare time. A lot of fan followers of Masood Bhai in the Shero Shairi world, poetic world, and dear friends, it's indeed kind of a great journey for me to be with Masood Bhai. और मुझे एक पक्का याद है, मैं थोड़ा हिंदी इंग्लिश मिक्स करते जाऊंगा. बम्बई का लैंग्वेज ऐसे भी खिचड़ी बोला जाता है, इंग्लिश. तो हिंदी इंग्लिश मिक्स करेंगे तो मजा आएगा थोड़ा सा. बट मुझे पक्का याद है कि मैं प्रोफेसर M.R. Rao सर की वजह से, with ISB's blessings and his blessings, Hyderabad become a second home for us all the time. मुंबई के बाद में हमने पूरा अपना हेडक्वार्टर्स भी था, बट सर का ब्लेसिंग्स काफी था. उसी बहाने मसूद भाई के साथ में ऐसे भी हमारा उठना बैठना होता था. और मसूद भाई का नाम सोचते ही हमारे चेहरे पे कभी भी रौनक आ जाती है, वो स्माइल आ जाता है. एज चतुर्वेदी जी मेंशन, MR सर मेंशन, इनफैक्ट कभी भी ऐसे लाइक ही इज अ पार्ट ऑफ द फैमिली. It's very rare, even for my very close friends of my engineering, MBA, Mahindra, and other companies, that किसी शादी के लिए हम लोग इतने बार गए. मसूद भाई के घर की almost every marriage function we attended, and not only me alone, with my wife, with my son. And चतुर्वेदी जी बता रहे थे, पता भी नहीं हमको उसने क्या सिलाया, अपना अपना मेजरमेंट लेके. But here is a unique knack. And हम लोग हैदराबाद में कभी आए और शादाब में गए नहीं, ऐसा होता ही नहीं. I'm sure MR will also recall with other friends from our AIMS board also. मैं शादाब का जाना, चार मीनार इलाका हो, और मसूद भाई के साथ में वो शाम को जैसे पूरा लिटरेचर ड्रिवन महफिल होती है, और उसके बाद में पुरानी यादें ताज़ी हो जाती है सबके साथ में. तो आई थिंक लम्हे जो हमने उनके साथ गुजारे, उनके फैमिली के साथ में गुजारे, वो अलग है. आई थिंक दिस इज इनवैल्यूएबल मोमेंट्स, एंड दैट गोज लॉन्ग वे. अपना एम्स में अपना डिजिग्नेशन, बाकी डिजिग्नेशन वो सब आते जाते रहेगा, मगर ये जो अपना एक रिश्ता उन्होंने बना लिया है सबके साथ, वो खाली बम्बई नहीं, हैदराबाद नहीं, बट अक्रॉस कंट्री एज वेल एज अक्रॉस ग्लोब, दैट इज माइंड बॉगलिंग. इट्स ऑसम, रियली ग्रेट. I'm just going to come back to couple of areas because उन्होंने जो ऐसे लिखा हुआ है पूरा, मैं इसको भगवत गीता बोले या कुरान बोले या बाइबल बोले, oh, it has become a kind of centerpiece for anyone who wish to learn management and who wish to probably run management institutions or any institutions. This is awesome, seriously awesome. So, Magar, I'll just pick up a couple of areas which I really love, and I'll just read out those. One of the area which I enjoyed reading the problem solving पे, उन्होंने जो लिखा है 5.1 and page number 65, वहाँ पे जो मसूद भाई ने जो मेंशन किया है, में जिंदगी में पेश आएंगे हजारों इम्तिहान, जिंदगी में पेश आएंगे हजारों इम्तिहान, हौसले से काम लेना सीख ले हर नौजवान. The way in which he has mentioned this and the overall meaning as well. So I'm sure, I think for any one of us, when we look at some of the poetries, those shares, हमें खुद को ऐसा लगता है कि we must reflect and see what is missing in my own personality, or what probably even me, my team, my institution can pick up. So definitely in that context, I could see the determination which you always talk about, and because problems इम्तिहान तो होते ही रहेंगे, ups and downs throughout. And like, at least for me also, last 26 years in management education, we have gone through ups and downs, but वो सब ups and downs में जो एक अपना determination होना चाहिए, जो एक patience होना चाहिए, जो एक frustration tolerance होना चाहिए, there are a lot of those qualities which get reminded by virtue of this particular share or so, and it is phenomenal, it's too good. But वो करने के लिए भी एक जगह पे मुझे ऐसा भी लगता है कि in terms of when he's talking about need for quality training, now from that angle, It's more on the grooming side, more on the development side. And that share goes like this, which has mentioned of Manjur Nadeem Balapuri. एक पत्थर की भी तकदीर संवर सकती है, एक पत्थर की भी तकदीर संवर सकती है, शर्त यह है कि सलीके से तराशा जाए. वाओ, मैं इट इज सुपर. जैसे हम बोलते हैं ना, जौहरी को परख, हीरो को परख करने वाला जौहरी मिलना चाहिए, उसी तरीके से that grooming and development of students ho, staff ho, faculties ho, nurturing the minds ho, it's absolutely invaluable. And इसी सिलसिले में I was just going through one of the book written by Upendra Kushwaha Kachuruji on India, land of billion entrepreneurs, and the experiment done by David McClelland, about which is normally being called the Kakinada experiment. And when he's talking about achievement motivation, sometimes we say the entrepreneurship, but a lot of times it may not be in the blood. Nobody, maybe then the family as well. But at the same time, how one can really pick up that effective entrepreneurship, build that entrepreneurship through achievement motivation. But through this, at least grooming and development point of view, I feel there is very appropriate for all of us. The next one, which is on sustainable organizations, because he has given me topic of institutional perspective. Prasad ji, barabar hai na?
Yes, sir.
सबको टॉपिक बांटे हैं, तो हमको हमारे सिलेबस के बीच में रह के काम करना है. So that is 3.13, page number 43, which is talking about, which is outstanding again. मेरे खुदा मुझे बस इतना तो मोतबर कर दे, मेरे खुदा मुझे इतना तो मोतबर कर दे, मैं जिस मकान में रहता हूँ उसको घर कर दे. वाह. In fact, इस तरीके से इंस्टीट्यूशन बिल्डिंग खड़ा हो जाता है कि जहाँ पे you work for the institution as if like it's your home. It's not really institution. It's not really kind of 9 to 5 kind of jobs, or we say in a lighter way, 2 punch and 1 lunch. That you can't build institutions. One has to be there for the institution day in and day out, and your people always draw a lot of inspiration from your side. And in that context, the next one is again basic, is the passion. The passion driven, which is talking about which is 8.14 on employee interest and curiosity, in which he is talking about एक कदम जाना जिधर दुश्वार था, एक कदम जाना जिधर दुश्वार था, शौक लेकर सैकड़ों मंजिलें गया. Super. Sometimes, as we all know, in fact, some of us came from the industry to this side. So maybe initially, like we just look at the baby steps, we are a bit hesitant also, but at least अगर आप में that you have that conviction, you have that belief in you, you have kind of अंदर जुनून है, so I'm sure nobody can stop you. And in that context, that smaller bits of pieces, like incremental success, always leads to success syndrome, and there is no way you can look back. But you have to start somewhere. And always, as we say, if your intent is genuine, the world conspires to be with you. And that's the way the entire this share gives me a sense. The next one is on communication, as communication is so important. Art of communication, Masood bhai is talking about on 6.4, which is page number 78. कुदरत को ना पसंद है सख्ती जबान में, कुदरत को ना पसंद है सख्ती जबान में, पैदा हुई ना इसलिए हड्डी जुबान में. क्या बात है. It's actually making so much of sense that you should speak well, speak patiently, positively, don't be rigid, be flexible. And all the challenges which we face in terms of insufficient communication, ineffective communication, insensitive communication, inappropriate communication, and the outcomes because of that. If we really don't look into communication part so closely, and I still remember one of the former CM of Maharashtra, when I asked him, I said, sir, what is the one-line success of you are actually being in this chair at such a young age? He said, Uday, what not to speak, that you should learn. What to speak, everybody knows, but what not to speak is so important. So you should take it forward in that particular aspect. And the next one is absolutely, I feel in today's like COVID times and a lot of challenges when we see the social perspective, which is really indeed essential. And from that angle, it is 10.7, which is 157 number page. ये भी तो सोचिए कभी तन्हाई में जरा, ये भी तो सोचिए कभी तन्हाई में जरा, दुनिया से हमने क्या लिया, दुनिया को क्या दिया. I'm sure, I think the kind of those days appeal by Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose was similarly. Like, I'll give you freedom, you give me your blood. Likewise, somewhere deep down, I'm sure this gives me so much of that sense that taking care of self and family, everybody does. But what are we giving back to society? We all talk about all the time inclusive society. We all talk about triple bottom line. We talk about people, planet, profit kind of stuff. We talk about sustainable development goals. This aspect as well, Masood Bhai is a role model. I'm sure, I think many of us have seen, we have seen very closely his entire series of Know Your Nation. At the same time, Management Week. At the same time, a lot of other such kind of initiatives Masood Bhai has taken. And healthcare point of view, health point of view, I still remember he used to share with me, I did this many kilometers of walking, running, swimming, everything. So I'm sure, and his friends as well, some of his doctor friends in Hyderabad also, definitely when we are seeing closely. So I think he's trying to inject that kind of positive energy, strength with everyone, and which I personally feel this is superb. In last two, which I'll just touch based on, 8.20, page 136, is more for the care and concern for the employees and the organization point of view. खुदा से क्या मोहब्बत कर सकेगा, खुदा से क्या मोहब्बत कर सकेगा जिससे नफरत है उसके आदमी से. In this aspect, definitely we looking into kind of we link and care point of view, maybe students, maybe staff, maybe teachers, maybe alums, maybe society, maybe nation, maybe disadvantaged people. So from that angle, I feel this is very apt. I'm just trying to see in 360 degree from institutional perspective what best can be done. And last one, which is a 2.1, which is just page number 9. The 2.1 page number 9 goes like this. अब हवाएं करेगी रोशनी का फैसला, अब हवाएं करेगी रोशनी का फैसला, जिस दिए में जान होगी वो दिया रह जाएगा. And I'm sure, I think मसूद भाई, अमिताभ बच्चन जो हमारे सुपरस्टार है इंडिया से, उन्होंने आपसे इंस्पिरेशन ली होगी जब भी उन्होंने खुदा गाँव में जो कहा, गर खुदा को हो मंजूर, गर खुदा को हो मंजूर, आंधियों में चिराग जलते हैं, जियो हजारों साल मेरे भाई, साल के दिन हो 50,000. Namaste, all the best, take care.
Thank you so much, Udayji. You have never disappointed anyone in this, society. I have seen and I'm seeing you. Such an energetic, gentleman sharing fantastic, thoughts. Really very much happy to have you here. Now, I welcome another gentleman who is not, formal or management education, but he is also in the field of, sharing his experience, expectations and experience. Professor Dr. Shakti Kumar Gupta. He is medical superintendent, All India Management, All India Institute of Medical Sciences. I now request Professor Dr. Shakti Kumar Gupta to share some of the, his insights about this book. Shakti Kumar ji, please.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, everybody. Respected Professor Y.K. Bhushan, Professor M.R. Rao, Shri Bala Maladi, Professor Dr. Uday Salonki ji, Dr. Sujata, Dr. Chaturvedi, Mr. Kumar Guru, Professor S.S. Prasada Rao, and our guests from across the country and neighboring countries, and of course, Professor Muhammad Masood Ahmed, our dear friend, and who is the main goat. We call in Sindhi, goat means Dula of today's program. It is a great pleasure for me to join this book release of this great visionary, Professor Muhammad Masood. He is a multifaceted personality, an author, a poet, a good friend, a shair, and above all, a good human being. He is associated with me for more than 15 to 16 years or so, and I know he writes so well. I can say he has written this book in a shairana andaz, that too in English, Hindi, Urdu, and other languages, along with well and meaning which is easily to understand. So I can say that this book is not only for students and experts in management, but also for medical students and experts in healthcare industry. The beauty of this book is that it is not only polishes your management skills, but also provides food for thought. And it is enriching your knowledge, your vocabulary, and doing things out of box. So when I was going through this activity, what I found that the translation of this, the management lessons from poetry, initially one is not able to understand that what lesson I'm going to get poetry. But when I have gone through this, just actually I was scanning this book, then I understand that actually so many things can be understood from this. The translation of poetry with management lessons into different languages not only generates interest, but also inspires new entrants in the field of management, especially the medical doctors who join the hospital and healthcare management courses after pursuing their MBBS degrees, which as of now is taught only in English. They feel that after graduation, when they join this master's in hospital administration or MD in hospital administration, they are stick to only English language. But after going this, what I have understood that there is also so many ways and mediums in which actually it can be better taught, it can be read or understood. The translation of poetry and the inbuilt management lessons emanating from the poetry will go a long way in helping to better understand the basics of management, not only for business managers and marketing gurus, but also to the healthcare professionals who chose to pursue their career in the management of better healthcare facilities and delivery of healthcare. While reading this book, one feels ignited and inspired, as with the help of easily understandable words which has been used by our famous poets to express their views of varied situations they faced and the felt need of the time in the form of the poetry. And they have simplified many things for us by use of the poetry and have expressed and summarized their management thoughts and experiences into the form of a poetry. I think this is a thing which is which actually really makes it more interesting, and then actually we can understand in a very simple language. Beside hospital managers, medical administrators, medical students, policy makers, and many more professionals in other disciplines, they can also they will also help patients and their relations, the staff and visitors, to read this book during their hospital stay or when they visit to the hospitals. And this can easily help the hospital managers and their authorities with better ideas of management, and also will serve as a good source of creation for many varied population of patients, those who are visiting the hospitals. And it will provide a mix of recreation, art, science, and management lessons at one place, and provides clues to understand many tough and intricate situations in one's life. I think this is a book which one need to recommend all hospital and institutional libraries to become a reference book. And also in the hospitals, in the waiting areas, we can keep this book active where the patients who are waiting, they can go through that active. And in the end, I'll end my whatever I have heard of as understood this book, I'll end this by saying, बिन बिन दरा पर पुष्प हैं मन को महकाते, ऐसे ही है मैनेजमेंट पोइट्री बहु कलाओं को समाटे, means infinite. So I think the Masood Bhai Sahab, they have done excellent job. I don't know how this idea came into his mind. I was actually thinking since last 2 days, how he thought that this can be translated into 4 or 5 languages and then actually make it easy. Even actually when we go through the management books, which we recommend to our students in hospital administration, but no, after going through this, one can easily understand actually what this meaning is actually. So he has combined the poetry with the management and making us more easier to understand. I feel I will recommend all my students who are doing MD in hospital administration to go through this book so that they can understand the management in a very simple way, so that will last till they actually, and it will help them in day-to-day functioning of the hospitals. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor Shakti Kumar Gupta ji, for recommending this book, apart from your own observations and sharing your insights. Thank you so much for being present here and sharing your thoughts. Now, I invite another youngest professional and at the very good institute he is representing from, Mr. DNV Kumaraguru. Kumaraguru is the Director, External Relations at Indian School of Business. Mr. Kumaraguru, please share your thoughts.
Thank you, Professor Prasad Garu. Good evening, everyone. Professor M.R. Rao, Professor Y.K. Bhushan, Professor Sujata Mangaraj, President of AIMS, other distinguished colleagues and friends. Good evening to all of you. First of all, it feels very nice to be back on an AIMS platform, even though it may not be a very formal AIMS occasion, but it's an AIMS platform after a gap of a few years. I also want to extend, warm welcome to our friends from Pakistan, Bangladesh, and other global locations as well. Professor MR, who was my boss, and I started my career at ISD, if he was worried about coming number 2 in a series of such, wonderful speakers, then you only can think of what my plate can be, right? I am speaker number 8, I think, or 7. But the good part is you can say, whatever that was spoken earlier, you can say, I wanted to say the same thing, but it's already spoken, even if whether we wanted to speak about it or mention it or not, but we can always take credit. So that's one good thing that happens when you come a little late. But I think I want to sort of remind ourselves why we are here today. I think this is a nice occasion to, talk about the book, but I think truly this is an occasion to celebrate a very wonderful soul, a very wonderful human being, Professor Mohammad Masood Ahmed, or Masood Bhai, as many of us sort of fondly call him. I think this is about celebrating Masood Bhai, right? There isn't you can't box him in one particular thing and say this is what he is. You can't say he's an academic, you can't say he's a business school director, you can't say he's a healthcare administrator, you can't say, ABC, which many of us easily get bracketed into. He's several personalities in one. So I do want to sort of say that this is a great opportunity for all of us who have had the fortune of getting to know him to come together on the occasion of this wonderful thing of him authoring a very nice book, on management lessons from poetry. Why is poetry important? I'm not a big fan of poetry, just like Amar spoke about his own sort of this thing. The closest I remember to poetry is having to memorize those poems in the school and college, and the fact that all of us in India, we are, whether it's the Bhagavad Gita or the Ramayana, if you think of the Bhagavad Gita, it's nothing but, several poems, and it's a poem in itself. So we do know in that sense there's an exposure. But I think the one thing that you will all agree with me is that poetry offers you a very different perspective on issues and realities of life that that we take several lines in prose, poetry condenses 2 or 3 or 4 lines and offers you a very nice insight. I think that we all agree on. In fact, we all sit through these very, very long, lengthy, often boring budget speeches in the parliament. But the one thing that we all laugh at or remember for a few weeks or a couple of months, in fact, is the attempt by the finance ministers to quote a Tiruvallur or a Kabir or Baswanna and their mispronunciation of both the names of these great people, but also, the fact that they're trying to, achieve a mini national integration by sort of, saying those poems or these couplets or dohas or whatever, right? So I think in that sense, poetry is very important. And this book it's wonderful. I've just started reading it 2 days ago. And I think it's a book that you don't need a lot of time to read, but you need a lot of time to internalize the lessons from that book, right? Reading is easier, but, internalizing and learning from those readings will take a lot of time. But I want to end by saying, going back to what I said earlier, Masood bhai, you're sitting there with your friends in person, enjoying coffee and their warmth. But I think it's important for us. I tried to sort of write down 5 things that I thought we could all recognize about Masood. One, I think, his attention to detail, right? As Professor Chaturvedi said, when you organize this very wonderful AIMS convention in Hyderabad, and I had the fortune of being part of the organizing team there, he took the pain and the ideas to get into every detailing, including the measurements of the people for whom he wanted to get this Sherwani stitched. So I think there is an important lesson for all of us. Sometimes when you get into leadership positions, we forget this element of paying attention to detail. Masood bhai is one of those who pays attention to details, which is what takes him a long distance. Second thing is his ability to challenge himself, right? So after many years, he suddenly took up cycling. Then he took up swimming. He's not just a healthcare administration professional, but he's also a person who uses physical health and physical well-being as a way to convey to everyone that it is important for us to be mentally well as well. So he's someone who challenges himself. He was the youngest director of Deccan School, I think in his early 20s. And, after 20 years there, he's gone on to different tracks. He's constantly reinventing himself and challenging himself. He's probably one of the very few rare examples of, at least the ones that I know of, who really cultivates true friendship, invests in true friendship and cultivates true friendship. This is another important thing in an increasingly transactional world that we all inherit and perpetuate. I think it's important for us to, develop and build those friendship as well, which comes to the next point, which is about taking people along. I haven't come across a single person who has said anything negative about Masood, right? I mean, that speaks volumes. Even MR, when he tried to say, he takes my advice but never follows up on it, he was only half in zest. But even he cannot say, nobody can say anything negative about Masood, right? So I think that's an important thing. And the last thing is this zest for life that he has, right? Whether it's Know Your Nation series. I remember him calling me 8 years ago when he was the president. I was in Mohali and he said, you have to come to Yamuna Nagar, Jagatri, which is not too far from Mohali, Chandigarh. But I said, why are you here? He said, no, MR had suggested this idea of doing an FDP and we are doing this in Yamuna Nagar, you have to come. So he has this ability to get things done from people, ability to make things happen. And there's a particular zest for life that we all want, we all write about, we all teach, we all talk about, but probably are found wanting in terms of actual practice. You will get a lot of insights from this book. It's beautifully, it's not just the lessons from the book, but it's also very nicely, lucidly articulated. I encourage all of you to sort of, please buy a copy, get one for your library, gift it to people. New Year is around the corner. This is a great book to gift to people. And Masood bhai, thank you very much for inviting me to share a few words on this occasion. And Prasad Garu, thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kumar Guru. You have put in a different perspective onto this platform. In fact, this is a great platform where we can see galaxy of professionals, galaxy of leaders. See, this is a fantastic platform. In fact, I'm privileged. Earlier, Professor Sujata Mangaraj Madam was telling, we should organize this kind of events in a blended mode. Actually, today we are witnessing the blended mode. Masood Bhai is sitting with professional colleagues at Hyderabad at Bhadrika Institute of Management. Professor G.S. Rao is organizing Telangana chapter. It's almost like a blended mode. Offline that is happening, online this is happening, and everyone is connected. Very, very happy to hear about your own thoughts and insights. Now we have other professionals and illustrious professors like Shekhar Chaudhary Saab, Upinder Zarji, Shefali Gautam ma'am, Dr. Apurva Palkar, Professor Ellen Bhagatji, etc. Now it's a privilege for me to invite Professor Upinder sir. Upinder sir, over to you.
Good evening to all of you.
Good evening, sir.
Professor Y.K. Bhushan, Professor M.R. Rao, Professor Suri Kumar Gupta, Professor Uday Salunke, Professor Prasad Rao, Professor Sujata, and all other friends, colleagues, past presidents of AIMS, our friends from Pakistan, Bangladesh, and other countries, and of course, Professor Masood Ahmed. At the outset, I would like to congratulate him for writing this book, Management Lessons from Poetry. In management education, number of attempts have been made in the past also to innovate the pedagogy, teaching learning process. And we have been using variants of methodology, not sticking to lecture method only in management education and training. Say case method is now, we are using case method for right from the inception of Harvard Business School. So that is more than 112 years back. So for last 100 years, case method is being used. Similarly, many teachers and trainers have attempted to use storytelling as a method to teach various concepts of management. I would like to congratulate Professor Masood Ahmed for attempting poetry as a method to teach. And it is one of the innovative methods. And the beauty with the poetry is that it reaches the heart of the learner. So we can have an access to the heart of the learner and draw the attention of the learner because it touches the heart. It arouses the feelings of the learner. Therefore, I'm sure that this book is going to be a very useful resource in the times to come. I have chosen a few couplets which I would like to share with all of you, and how the author has tried to associate that couplet with the realities in our business world. For example, on page 44, there is a couplet by Gulzar. वक्त रहता नहीं कहीं टिककर, वक्त रहता नहीं कहीं टिककर, आदत उसकी भी आदमी सी है. So here he is talking about change, how change is important, and we keep on talking about management of change, and we need to we keep on advising our students that how to prepare for facing the change effectively. Similarly, on page number 57, there is a couplet by Nida Fazli which says, दुश्मनी लाख सही खत्म न कीजिए रिश्ता, दुश्मनी लाख सही खत्म न कीजिए रिश्ता, दिल में या ना मिले, दिल में या ना मिले, हाथ मिलाते रहिए. दिल ना मिले लेकिन हाथ मिलाते रहिए. So the author has drawn the lesson that it is observed that in the organizational functions and business operations, there is a higher level of possibility of differences in opinion. So there may be difference of opinion, but then we should keep the relationship. Relationship plays a very important role. Relationship is important in all domains of management. Similarly, on page number 134, there is a couplet by Bashir Badr which says, घरों पे नाम थे, नामों के साथ ओहदे थे, घरों पे नाम थे, नामों के साथ ओहदे थे, बहुत तलाश किया कोई आदमी न मिला, बहुत तलाश किया कोई आदमी न मिला. And the lesson that the author is drawing, so far as the management lesson is concerned, in modern business organizations we find various individuals with different designations and profiles, but surprisingly when the appraisal is done, their contributions are found negligible and their efficiency and effectiveness is not as per expectation. There is on page 133, there is a couplet by great Mirza Ghalib, which says, बस के दुश्वार है हर काम, बस के दुश्वार है हर काम, आसान नहीं होना, आदमी को भी मुयस्सर नहीं इंसान होना. In an organization, we find employees working at different levels of management and various functional departments, but grooming an efficient manager is a difficult task. Therefore, the role of training and development is highly significant. Similarly, on page number 163, there is a couplet by Bahadur Shah Zafar, which says, नथी हाल की जब हमें अपनी खबर, नथी हाल की जब हमें अपनी खबर, रहे देखते लोगों के ऐब व हुनर, रहे देखते लोगों के ऐब व हुनर, पड़ी अपनी बुराइयों पर जो नजर, पड़ी अपनी बुराइयों पर जो नजर, तो नहीं तो निगाह में कोई बुरा ना रहा. जब पड़ी बुराइयों पर अपनी नजर, तो निगाह में कोई बुरा न रहा. And the lesson drawn by the author is that the managers in charge of business operations quite often supervise and control their subordinates who are working with them, and they try to find out their limitations and weaknesses. However, it happens when their managers do their subordinates' performance appraisal, they come to know sometimes that they have more faults than their subordinates working with them. So these are some of them. There are a number of couplets which are very relevant. Poetry takes us very close to the reality. Poetry gives us an inkling of what can be external. What has happened with someone today may happen with someone else tomorrow. And it helps us in linking the reality with our management lessons. And management lessons drawn by the author very well. The management thought can be shared by using the couplets, as has been very well done by the author. So I once again congratulate Professor Masood Ahmed for producing this very valuable resource, for not only for management professors, even for those who are interested in learning management. So with these words, I wish him all the best for I'm sure that this book is going to become a bestseller. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Thank you so much, Upinder Dharji. Thank you so much for giving another dimension to this book. Now, I'm very happy to invite Professor Shekhar Chowdhury sir, who has been the director IIM Calcutta, and now he is taking care of another business school in Calcutta Business School, and he is the former president of AIMS. Very, very soft-spoken personality and always pleasant to spend time with him in every platform whenever we meet, whenever we see him. Thank you so much, Professor Shekhar Chowdhury sir. Please share your insights on this particular occasion.
Okay. Thank you very much, Professor Prasad Rao. Just a little correction. I retired from Calcutta Business School, with which I was associated earlier, last year in October. So I'm really enjoying my retired life now. Okay. Let me first of all congratulate Professor Masood Ahmed for bringing out this book. I've not had the chance to read this book as of now, but I have listened to so many colleagues already that I have now a little inkling as to what this book contains. and probably I'll be able to share some of my thoughts on this, as well as a little bit, I think Professor Dr. Chaturvedi had mentioned earlier about a course on leadership at IIM Ahmedabad. So, I can take a little credit for that, because in 1986, we introduced that course. The course used to be called Leadership, Vision, Meaning and Reality. And I was the area chairman of business policy area at that time. And against a lot of resistance and objection from my colleagues in the area, that who is this person bringing, several of my colleagues, most of my colleagues in the area were my professors. So they said that this new person has, he's creating problems for this area. And the person who taught that course, Leadership, Vision, Meaning and Reality, was late Professor S.P. Singh from National Bank Institute of Bank Management. And that course started with one section. Today it runs in 3 sections. And today, actually, Professor Manikutty, I don't know whether he is here in the audience today or not, but Professor Manikutty, he teaches that. 2 sections he teaches, and another section is being taught by Professor Asha Kaul. Just to give you why I mentioned this thing is that I'm 100% sure that in years to come, this book is going to become very, very popular. And I'm sure many institutions will introduce courses on leadership based, at least partly based on this book, and which is a very new dimension. I would just mention that in IIM Calcutta also, in 2016, I taught a new course which I developed, the Visionary Leader, but basically based on biographies of great leaders and some, literature fiction. And this also, but this was the first time I was the only person who was interested, and I retired after that from IIM Calcutta. So I am not sure whether it is being taught at all or not. But I think, this particular book by Professor Masood Ahmed is going to become very, very important in teaching leadership. Because, all these the colleagues who shared the various aspects of the book, read out some couplets, read out some from the different chapters. To me, it seems that it would really be useful in conducting management development programs for developing leaders, and even in PGP courses, MBA courses. But for a person like me who doesn't understand literature, doesn't have any background like Professor M.R. Rao.
Leadership, utilizing the 5 principles of triangulation model. I firmly believe
Sorry?
some of you are familiar with principle. And
Sorry.
this already gives you an idea that if I study and utilize mixed methods for research to be able to gather and analyze.
It's crossed off. I think you need to unmute them.
Okay.
I mentioned earlier.
Those who are not speaking, they should mute the mic.
Unmute everybody else.
Yes, sir.
Mute everybody. Sorry, not unmute.
I did it, sir. I did it.
Okay, so I think with all these thoughts, I'm very sure that this book is going to become a very important resource for conducting leadership programs for practicing managers, and also would be useful in teaching leadership to MBA students. However, I think the problem would be perhaps, if you don't understand, like me, if I don't understand poetry, if not had any background, like Professor M.R. Rao said, so I would probably find it difficult. I have not read the book yet, so I do intend to do that. But I'm sure some of those poems may be easy to understand, and some may be difficult. I think I congratulate Professor Masood Ahmed once again, and also AIMS for conducting this wonderful seminar, webinar, which has given me an opportunity to meet so many colleagues, old colleagues, again after a very long time. and it is really heartwarming to see all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Professor Shekhar Chaudhary ji, for giving us the clarity and also your thoughts on this idea of writing a book and also sharing your experiences while introducing this kind of poetry or Indian ethos into management education. Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your thoughts and insights. Now, I am very happy to invite another gentleman who is not from academics, but he is a childhood friend of Professor Masood, and he is now the CEO, Chief Executive Officer of Act FiberNet, Sri Bala Malladi Garu. Sri Bala Malladi Garu is a childhood friend of Professor Masood Ahmed, and I think he has more connect than anyone amongst us here. Now, over to you, Bala Malladi Garu, please.
Thank you, Professor Rao. Thank you, Professor Prasad Rao. I must confess that I am not aware of most of the people out here, but one person I am certainly completely clued on, know him for a long time, right from childhood, it is Masood. I may not call him Professor Masood, once a friend, always a friend. So apologies if I don't call him Professor Masood or whatever the prefixes or suffixes that the academia is used to. I've been exceptionally delighted and enthralled about the progress and the heights Masood has reached over a period of time. And it is unbelievable. It's a chalk and cheese, not to say that he was any different before. But having said this, to see the kind of accolades that each one of you were very, very, well accomplished professors in the academia, praising him and taking note of his contribution to the entire academic world, I'm exceptionally delighted, and nothing is more happier than this particular moment. I'm very happily listening to all of you for the past one hour plus. So coming back into just a bit about Masood, and then I will go on to talk about a little bit about the insights from the industry perspective on the book that has been written. He's a great childhood friend. We studied together, and Masood has got a different personality when he was a student. We both used to really have different kind of insights, including watching many movies together. Having said this, there's one thing exceptional about Masood. He's a great human being and is always there to help. And that makes him stand apart from many people. So, in fact, I used to encourage him to take a business line where the destiny has taken him into academic line. So all of us are destined to do something that creates social value, and I'm very happy. I never imagined that there will be a day where Masood will write a book and I will be talking about it. Indeed, it is a privilege and it's a moment of truth for us. And I'm very happy to share that pride moment with each one of you here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now, the second point is I will take 5 more minutes because I never talked about the topic that has been given to me. So I know that you're out of time, but now that you have allotted me 10 minutes, Professor Prasad Rao, I still have some 5 minutes left. We are normally concise, and I thought it is okay in this forum to exceed the time limits in a bit. But that's again the management insights that I get from this particular audience. So first and foremost thing, it is a very, very innovative format. The book I've had, opportunity to go through in the afternoon today, And it's a very, very innovative format. It talks about, if you look at it, it gives you 3 language, the poetry, obviously none of us know, at least I don't know Urdu. And of course I can read and write Hindi and of course English. But most importantly, there is a poetic translation, well translated. And more importantly, there is a management lesson that has been written. This is an insight. Let me call it as an insight lesson. Actually, it takes a lot longer. And that makes the book a really, really a different one. To me, it almost sounded like, I'm sure you can recall a couple of more management insight books like Who Moved My Cheese, A 1 Minute Manager. This goes into that league. I wish it goes into that league. Yeah. And somewhere when Professor Rao in the beginning, if I remember, I'm sure I'm getting his name right, he basically said, listen, I don't have anything left by the end of the day if you're the last speaker, and I seem to be having that privilege of being a last speaker before Masood talks, but let me talk about it. I have enough and more to talk about it. I think in the real industrial practice, I had a company which employs 7,000 people with more than 2,000 crore turnover. But let me tell you one thing, that there are lots and lots of things I can relate when I look at each one of those things. And I'm not talking it just because I've been asked to talk about it, but in reality, when we practice, I'm very happy that Masood has spent a lot of time on human resources. Life is all about managing people, making them excel at what you're looking at it, and ensuring that they deliver the best results and you create value. And there's nothing more important than managing these very complex human beings, but then translating and focusing them and their energies into a common cause. I think that is very well brought out in this book. And the couple of chapters that I liked most are ethics and culture. And they are so important in life that any company, if you see any successful company, they are based on the strong foundation of ethics. You would not find any sustainable organization created on fly-by-night philosophy. A valuation-based philosophy of any company we haven't seen being very sustainable business model. I think that is a very critical one. And on top of it, you take any successful company, starting from a Google or an Apple or Amazon or Facebook's, or in India, in any company like a Levers or a Procter & Gamble or any of the big conglomerates that you talk about, they have something very unique to them. It is the culture that they built over a period of time. And this book has really, really brought upon multiple aspects of it, talking about how human beings are valued, how human beings, they just don't come for just a compensation. I think they should see a sense of purpose that needs to be created, and there's a deep connect that is expected of them. And of course, success versus failure and importance of being humane. The only thing about this book, it serves you as an aide-memoir rather than an in-depth, insightful, incisive stuff into each and every aspect. It talks about a topic, it gives you a feel, it gives you a freedom to choose whichever interpretation you want, but it certainly serves you as an aide-memoir, saying that this is what a concept that is worth practicing, worth nurturing, worth emulating in an organization. I think that's what I liked about the book. While it is very voluminous to look at, but I think you can really, really take huge insights out of it. And I'm very happy that I'm here to support, celebrate, nurture, and this particular wonderful, wonderful initiative by Masood. And once again, thank you all of you for giving me an opportunity to talk to all of you and share my insights and thoughts. Thank you so much, Professor Rao. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I am very happy to know about you through one of your colleagues, Mr. Kishore Divala, happened to be our student and really excited to listen to you, and that has come true now. Very happy to listen to you, sir. Thank you so much for being part of us, particular function today. Now, I'm very excited to invite another past president and one of the very good professional, Professor Shefali Gautam. Madam Professor Shefali Gautam, are you there? Shefali, okay. Another gentleman, another lady, Professor Apurva ji. Okay, I think they'll join us. I request now Professor Ellen.
I'm there, and I would just like to take this opportunity to congratulate Masood ji today for this beautiful book that he has created. And I think there are great insights as an individual and as a personality. He has always created a mark of himself in whichever sphere of life that he's gone into. Be it in the management education, be it in this book that we really see, where there has been a clear depiction of how can we really look at literature and its relevance to current day business education. I think I'm really impressed with the kind of work that's gone by, because this requires a lot of acumen and thinking in terms of what the poet has actually written and depicting it into the current situation. Just like to speak about one that he has written here. Subah ki dhoop mein saya agar lamba nazar aaye, tum apne kad ke bare mein galat fehmi mein mat rehna. Very, very beautifully written thing, where most of the times in the market this happens, where people feel that they look at the shadow and misconceptions about your own self in the market, and you depict yourself, and this is where the disaster really starts happening. Very beautifully written, and I think all the poems have beautiful meanings to it, and this can be a great repository of knowledge for future management education. All the best to you, Masood ji, for having created this beautiful book, and I wish you all the success. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Apurva ji. Though you are busy and you come back and share your thoughts. Friends, Professor Apurva Palkar is the second lady president of this prestigious, professional body, Association of Indian Management Schools. We are very, excited to have Professor Apurva ji. Her time we enjoyed in Pune, a lot of gyan sharing. So many professionals across the country attended that kind of function, and we cherish our learnings forever. Thank you so much, madam. Thank you so much. Now, it's the time for all of us to listen to Professor Ellen Bhagatji. Bhagatji.
Thank you, Prasad Rao Sahab. I got this opportunity to salute to my mentors, that is the past president AIMS, mainly Y.K. Bhushan Sahab, M.R. Rao Sahab, Shekhar Chaudhary ji, Uday Salunke Sahab, Professor Upinder Dhar ji, and Masood Bhai, the writer of this book. I call him Masood Bhai because he has been my friend, guru and guide. And the past present president Sujata Mangraj ji and other dignitaries present here. I have gone through the book written by Masood Bhai. There are many lessons from poetry and management concepts taken from the renowned personalities. These are very useful for the readers. I think the presentation is very unique and innovative. Technique is persuasive, and issues are quite relevant to personal life and professional career. वैसे तो इसमें सैकड़ों लेसन्स हैं. अगर आप अलाउ करें मुझे एक लाइन में बोलने के लिए, तो मैं कहूंगा कि मेन जो लेसन है, be responsible to the community, society and nation. This is what the Almighty God expects from the human being, the best creature of God. ये मैंने इसलिए कहा क्योंकि अगर Almighty God के डायरेक्शन को नहीं मानेंगे तो आपको कुछ नहीं मिलेगा. आप उसको खुश करना है तो आप उसके बताए रास्ते पर चलें. ये कोई ह्यूमन बीइंग को ये पोएट्री बनाने की औकात नहीं है. ये तो डिक्टेटेड है बाय गॉड. इसलिए आपको इसे मानना होगा अगर इसका फायदा लेना है तो. ये in page 67 and 68 we find the interpersonal relationship and skills. These are the important traits of leadership, and many other things related to ethics, values and spirituality are there. जब एक लीडर का क्वालिटी में बढ़ोतरी होता है, when he becomes rational in behavior and spiritual in the decision, then we call leader a responsible leader. आज के दुनिया में responsible leader ही है एक ऐसा मंत्र जो बिजनेस सक्सेस देता है, सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट देता है ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को, और ऑर्गेनाइजेशनल एक्सेलेंस के उद्देश्य को प्राप्त करने के लिए भी सहायक होता है. तो ये सारे जो वैल्यूज हैं, एथिक्स एंड स्पिरिचुअलिटी, सारे को अगर समझ जाए रीडर तो वो एक रिस्पॉन्सिबल लीडर हो सकता है और सब कुछ अपने पा सकता है, दुनिया को दे सकता है. ये लेकिन मैं ये भी कहना चाहता हूं कि ये जो लेसन्स हैं ये सारे बेस्ड है एक एजम्पशन पर. वो एजम्पशन है all readers are God fearing. I mean all readers are having fair attitude and rational perspective. अगर ऐसा नहीं है तो इसका फायदा रीडर को कुछ नहीं मिलेगा, और ये कुछ पढ़ने के बाद भी कोई फायदा नहीं होगा. फिर भी ये the author deserves appreciation. इन्होंने बहुत मेहनत किया है, 4 लैंग्वेज में बनाया है, कलेक्ट किया है, उसको सजाया है, और he also deserves congratulations. Thank you, Masood bhai.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for sharing your yarn with us today. Now it is time for all of us to listen to Professor Masood Ahmed. Professor Masood bhai, as we all call him Masood bhai. Masood bhai, over to you. Masood bhai, over to you.
You are able to hear me?
Yes, sir. We are able to listen to you.
It's a very good evening to everybody. And then first, I would like to thank AIMS. It is the central office.
One second, sir, one second. There is another device which is switched on there nearby.
Yeah, we are switching off that one.
Yeah,
we are switching off.
Yeah. Please, sir, now.
Yeah, now you are able to hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So at the outset, I would like to thank AIMS office and Telangana chapter. And then I'm grateful to all my elders. If you go to the program schedule, I have got the shortest time, that is the 5 minutes. It's good. Okay, as per the program schedule. So without wasting the time, I would like to admit, and I would like to have the disclaimer, it's good to have the great friends like our elders, you all. But genuinely, I think that there is some overestimation. Maybe as a teacher or a former AIMS president and now as an author. The only disclaimer I have got that I would like to use the jargon from the IT technology that whatever you are seeing, it is only the front end. The book title, Management Lessons from Poetry. It is authored by me, but I think it is something like front end. The back end, it has got the history of about 30 years. When I started my career at Deccan, the first person was instrumental was Father P.D. Thomas. He groomed me in 90s at XLRI Jamshedpur. Then few of my elders, unfortunately we do not have Dr. Dharni P. Sinha and Ronald D'Souza ji and Prakash Lal Tandon, P.K. Tandal ji. And apart from that, we have our elders right from Joe Philip, Sir, Bhushan ji, Ashok Joshi ji, V. Panduranga Rao, D. Panduranga Rao ji, and then all our president, the list is there. But I think whatever I could contribute little bit, still I am not sure even after hearing you that whether it will click it or not, but it was a passion. That passion, I wanted to present it, but still I am not sure. But few of the things, I think in introduction, I am not sure that Professor Prasad Rao told that Bala Malladi, he was my classmate in BCom, highly qualified, highly intelligent, and highly academic with the multi-qualification like CA, ICWA, and CS. So he forced me to do MBA. Okay. And then I had the individual like Uday Bhai, and he taught me something like scalability, the passion, the design thinking. And then I have got elders with me, as I already mentioned, Professor M.R. Rao, Bhushanji, they taught me, and all other past president, how to think differently and distinctly. And I was talking about the back end. The friends list is lengthy, but in the book also I mentioned there are few individuals who are instrumental. So right from Sudhir Sharma ji, that we had an experiment at Meerut Mastery School of Management about a decade ago, where we had a first program called Management Lessons from Poetry One-Day Workshop. It clicked very, very well. The credit goes to Sudhir Sharma ji and Mastery School of Management, where I was the program director and resource person, but I found that few of the participants were better at literary and poetry, better than me. And then the experiment, we did it at BIMTech, Professor Chaturvedi ji, and he had an open hand for last more than decade that Masood ji, whatever experiment you want to do it, whether it is right or wrong, you do it BIMTech, and always it is open. So these are the institutions. When I am coming to Hyderabad, I have got my great friends here. I have got right hand Mr. Sailesh Sampati here. So you can say hi. So Sailesh is a promoter of Shivashivani Institute of Management. There also I had at individual level and institutional level liberty. And the left hand side, I have G.S. Rao ji, okay, who is the group director for Badruka Group of Institution and present chairman for Telangana chapter. Then Abhiram Krishna ji, and one of my great friend, Acharya. I am after him and he is after me from more than a decade. Okay, sometimes he troubles me and most of the time I trouble him at the individual level and institutional level. And I have got the youngest and dynamic, energetic friend, and Ravi Jain. And Ravi Jain also, I may be having exposure with a few years, but last year itself he told Masood Bhai that whatever concept you have, that management lessons from poetry, I think this we should have a credit, 1 or 2 credit course at PGDBM college. I think I'm happy to tell few of our institution, they want to have it, the bringing literary and poetry component to the management education. And right hand side, one more instrumental person in my academic career, particularly the writing of book, Professor Sharif, actually he forced me and he threatened me that you should write on a book something like this, and then it will be there that all over the world. And originally this book we planned it in 20 different languages, 10 languages in India and 10 foreign languages. And I can tell you, it took 5 years to complete the 5 languages. That is in Hindi, Telugu, Urdu, and Malayalam language, and other 4 languages are ready. And then symbolically, we are going for the first release of book release function, and shortly we'll be going for remaining 4. And the next phase, we are going to have the 5 foreign languages, and then once again 5 Indian languages, and we'll be concentrating on Tamil, Bengali, and Marathi, because Udaybai and my Jai Maratha team, and that they may be angry that no, if we don't include the Marathi language, Kannada, Tamil, and other languages. This is the vision. Just we are trying. And lastly, because I told you as per the schedule had 5 minutes, and I have taken more than that. But let me admit very important thing. It was 2012 when I was the AIMS president in Hyderabad that we were having the Mushaira and Kavi Sammelan. Incidentally, Professor Y.K. Bhushan sir, he was presiding that Kavi Sammelan and Mushaira in 2012 in Hyderabad. And you may not be knowing, there are few individuals in India, fortunately or unfortunately, I myself, Professor Y.K. Bhushan, and one more senior most person, Sharu Rangnekarji. When we had our schooling, we had the Urdu subject in our schooling. And Professor Bhushanji, he advised openly in the auditorium, the person like Masood with Urdu and management background, you should write a book, and the book title should be Management Lessons from Poetry. The title was given by Professor Bhushanji in 2012, and then I had to struggle for 5 years for generating the outcome and output. I think thanks to our Bhushanji, because not Masood Ahmed, I think most of us, our past president and executive board members, we had a great learning and great exposure from person like Professor Y.K. Bhushan. There are so many things, I don't want to quote anything from the book, except one, that when I had a 25th marriage anniversary on 25th May 2020, and I was supposed to give some gift to my wife, and then I told I'm a teacher and academician. The first couplet of my life I have written and I accommodated in the book. I think it is the page number 104, where I was comparing the consultant and the manager. What is the difference between the consultant and manager? The management lesson title I had given the management magic. In that management magic, I have written, it is in Hindi and Urdu, it is my own couplet, Mana ke mehboob ki mohabbat teri duniya nikhar deti hai. We agree, definitely, certainly we agree. When you have the love affair and all, you have some polishing, some attraction, some vibration in your life. If you have the lover, and if you have any girlfriend, that's good. But the second line of the poetry I had written, par sharike hayat ki ulfat akhirat bhi sawar deti hai. But your life partner, if she is the best, it is not only this life and the life after also. You will prosper, you will grow, and you will progress. So that is the learning. I put it my own life experience, and I think the 2 couplets I have got, and one more couplet where I was searching for the months for some couplet, the suitable couplet I was not getting. That I had in mind something like reversing the enemy. I thought the business leader, the best manager, must have the exceptional caliber to transform his worst enemy into the best business associate. So that I have written, I think 2.19, that is the couplet written by me, because I was not getting couplet from outside. I spent about almost 5 years. Then I had written something like that. The meaning is like this: तू इंसान है तो बस ऐसा कमाल पैदा कर, तू इंसान है तो बस ऐसा कमाल पैदा कर. Adu. The word adu in Urdu means it is the enemy, dushman. Dushman se bhi dost kuch bemisal paida kar. So if you are the best business manager and the best leader, that you may have the worst opponent and competitors, but let us transform the worst competitor and opponent into the best business associate. It is not only the reversing the enemy, it is something like reversing the business alliances. So this I thought it, and I'm grateful to all my elders who spend time. I think the programs we are supposed to have for half an hour, 45 minutes and 1 hour, it is more than 1.5 hours, and everybody is engaged in that. And lastly, the AIMS office, Venkateshwar, their executive secretary, Rohini, Murli, and here the back end, here GS Rauji is there, and Sailesh Bhai is there, Sailesh Sampati, and always Srinivas Acharya and Professor Sharif and Abhiram Krishna ji and Dr. Ravi Jain from Symbiosis. They are with me and we are enjoying your company. Thank you. All the best. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Masood Bhai, for acknowledging everything apart from the Gyan sharing. Thank you so much. Now, I am very excited to invite another gentleman who has actually sown the seed of writing this book, Management Lessons from the Poetry. I think there is no excitement now if I say, because Professor Masood has already announced.
I think Sudhir Sharma and GS Rao ji, I think want to contribute something.
Yeah. After Y.K. Bhushan ji, we will.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Professor Y.K. Bhushan ji, over to you. Over to you, sir, please.
Yeah. My friends in AIMS, what a pleasure to be here this afternoon to see something, an idea fructifying. This was a seed of an idea that we shared, both Masood and myself, at that Musharraf. Urdu has been my first love, and so has been poetry. If you can have two loves, I hope you allow me that. Urdu is my first love, and poetry is my second love. Poetry is my second love, primarily because prose is prosaic. And one of the problems in teaching and in studying also is that everything is in prose and tends to get prosaic. I think it's important that we make both study and teaching interesting. A lot has been said already about that. Upendra sir made the point about pedagogy. And I think the mention of Sharu Rangnekar came up. Sharu is very fond of Urdu because he makes his lectures interesting by introducing Urdu couplets. And I think in a book like this, you have ready material for faculty members who can draw upon it to make their sessions interesting. Because poetry tends to be more interesting than prose. And probably prose is making life difficult for those who lecture. So here we have the book Management Lessons from Poetry, which I have the honor of releasing. I don't know whether I can get it there.
Yeah, we are able to see you.
Right? Yeah, so here's the book. And on the title itself, there's a description about the book, 200 plus management lessons, 200 plus management lessons, and 100 plus management insights, 200 plus couplets, 100 plus world-renowned poets. It was a formidable task. And that was the reason why I could not continue with the Masood Bhai, because the original deal was that both of us will work on it. And he took it up and pursued it and brought it to its fruition. I could not find the time and probably couldn't put in the effort to make it come true. But when I heard from him that he had completed the task, it really filled me with joy. Great work done by Masood Bhai, and I also call him Masood Bhai, although he is many years my junior in age and experience. We have been very, very close together. I have always been an admirer of Masood because I think he has been perhaps the most dynamic and innovative president that we have had. I was the president of AIMS, third in line, starting with Joe Philip. And we used to share our ideas together. I was excited when he came to me with the idea that we shall reach out to institutions in these smaller areas and small business schools with exposure to pedagogy, particularly case method, and Rao Sahab, MRO, regarding research methods. And therefore, I fell in for it, went with him from place to place, and we did complete the task. It's been a pleasure working with Masood Bhai because he is so dear, such a good friend, and such a good person. आदमी को भी मुयस्सर नहीं इंसान होना, as Gharib said. You know, there are people all around, people and people, you know. But it's very difficult for every person to become a good human being. And I think that was the import of what Ghalib had to say. आदमी को भी मुयस्सर नहीं इंसान होना. Even a man cannot, every man cannot aspire to be a good human being. To be a good human being, I think, is the most important thing for a manager. I think all management or all life ultimately turns to God. And I believe that we must have faith in God when we go about with our efforts. I was once thinking about it, and this is what I came up with, you know, to share with you 2 lines which I wrote in poetry. I said, हिसाब रहमत खुदा से करें क्यों कर, हिसाब रहमत खुदा का करें क्यों कर. हिसाब इसलिए account because we are all managers and we think in accounting terms. Ultimately, everything must result in profit. And हिसाब रहमत खुदा का करें क्यों कर. दिया ही दिया है, दिया क्या है. What we have done is to take from him, and what is it that we have really given him. And that's where Masood really scores over the scores of academics that we have. It's so little that we have done unto society. The other day I was watching the rerun of Mahabharat series, and Lord Krishna says was something which is of great relevance here. I think Masood fills the bill. What he said tells Arjun is that real karma is that which benefits the society. We must ultimately work for social good. And that is something which Masood has been doing and has been creating envy in me and several others. I think it's a very good role model that he has created. So congratulate Masood Bhai for this great work that he has done. I'm sure that many professors, many faculty members will draw upon this and pick up couplets which will be relevant to what they are teaching and make the teaching more interesting. Poetry comes from the heart. Prose comes from the head. poetry comes from the heart and therefore has an element of emotion in it. I think as far as leadership is concerned and human resource management is concerned, this element of heart is very, very important, right? Now, what the manager has to do is to think from the heart. Although thinking is the function of the head, he has to learn to think from the heart. I jotted down a list of several couplets which will be relevant from the point of view of managers, practicing managers. It's not only practicing managers, but also consultants to whom he made a reference just now, and practitioners. And I think those can be picked up from here. I don't have the time to share all the jottings that I made, but I'm sure if you go through the book, you'll find loads of wisdom, management wisdom in this. Actually, what we had thought about was management in poetry. And that is because a lot of wisdom goes into poetry. And the best thing about poetry is that it's a condensation of wisdom. What takes several hundreds of pages to be expressed in prose can be expressed by a poet in maybe just a page or two. And that's the beauty of poetry. So poetry condenses so much of thought that passes our minds. And I do hope that there will be much more of poetry in life and also in our teaching and in study, that our lives will become much better. I'm sure that going through a book like this will enrich the lives of all the readers, because anyone who reads this book and goes through the couplets will realize how much of wisdom has gone into the couplets which have been given here. So it's very nice of Masood to remember that I also had something to do with this. It was really a pleasure to have had something to do with the concept of this book. And I'm very happy that he thought of me for formally releasing this book. So I have great pleasure in releasing this book of management lessons from poetry by Muhammad Masood Ahmed. Let me take this opportunity to wish Masood Bhai all the very best in this endeavor and in all the other endeavors, which are basically for social good. Know your country and all the work that he has been doing in the health sector are all really meant for social good. So wish you Godspeed in everything that you're doing, Masood Bhai. All the best. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Guruji, thank you so much. Dhanyawad. Dhanyawad. Bahut dhanyawad. Now, I request Professor Sudhir Sharma ji to say a few lines about it. Sudhir Sharma ji, over to you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir. बहुत देर से वेट कर रहा था कि कब आप हमारा नाम अनाउंस करेंगे। लेकिन आपने बहुत अच्छा किया, सर के बाद में ही हमको दिया, क्योंकि सर ने एक बहुत प्यारी चीज बोली है, मैनेजमेंट एजुकेशन के लिए गुड ह्यूमन बीइंग होना जरूरी है। उसमें मैं एक चीज ऐड करता हूं, अगर मैनेजमेंट को समझना है, पढ़ना है या मैनेजमेंट प्रैक्टिस करना है, तो अपने मोहब्बत करने वालों को संभाल के रखने का कोशिश कर लो अगर, तो सब चीज सीख जाओगे। हाँ, तो क्योंकि ये सब चीजें इमोशंस और से चलती हैं चीजें, तो इसमें इस चीज का होना बहुत जरूरी है। तो सर की बात को मैं कंप्लीट मतलब एंडोर्स कर रहा हूं सर को, ऑलरेडी सर ने इतनी प्यारी चीज बोली है। एक छोटा सा नुशूर वाहिदी का एक 2 लाइन का शेर है, अगर अलाउ करते हैं आप, तो मैं इसको के बारे में कहना चाहता हूं। एक रिश्ता भी मोहब्बत का अगर टूट गया, देखते देखते शेराजा बिखर जाता है। ये एक एंड रिजल्ट है, लेकिन अगर इस पर काम किया जाए कि ऐसा क्यों होता है और ऐसा ना हो, तो एक बहुत अच्छा ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को आप संभाल सकते हैं हर तरीके से। थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू।
Thank you so much, Sudhir ji. You have kept your promise. Fantastic. Now, I request one more gentleman before G.S. Rao garu and Venkat garu, Professor Jitendra ji. Just a minute.
Yeah. Thank you, Prashad Bhai, and it's a great occasion to hear from all the legendary, especially seeing Y.K. Bhushan sir is always an inspiration, and it's a great occasion to compliment Masood Bhai. We say that the real issues reflect in culture, and poetry is a reflection of culture. So if we want to understand, and we know that management is more of understanding the context and addressing the issues in the context, it cannot be outside context. So from that point of view, bringing poetry and relating the management concept through poetry will go right to the heart, as Dr. Dhar also mentioned, and it will help the learner in a at least in Indian context to relate to it and internalize it easily. There are so many things. I would take 1 minute to read one of the couplet that says, है खबर मुझको अभी दूर है मंजिल, है खबर मुझको अभी दूर है मंजिल, जज्बाए शौक ये कहता है कि चलते रहो. So there is no end. The destination is just an illusion. It's a journey that thrills us and that motivates us, and that's what management is. From every challenge we have to learn and emerge more wise. I take this occasion to compliment Masood Bhai, and we look forward to, I don't know how did you indexed and brought so many things, because we have such a rich legacy of poetry, and selecting few out of that is real Herculean task. Nobody other than you could have the patience and ability to do it so meticulously. Thank you very much, and we wish you all the best. We look forward to many more books of such kind, and we wish the book that it should be one of the most popular and bestseller books. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jitendra ji. Thank you so much. And now another gentleman from Hyderabad. Friends, this program is live cast at 4 platforms. Number 1 is Zoom, number 2 Facebook, number 3 YouTube, number 4 physical form in Hyderabad, the chapter, Telangana chapter. Professor G.S. Rao has arranged in his own boardroom. Now I request Professor G.S. Rao Garu to speak few lines about this. G.S. Rao Garu, over to you.
Hi there.
We have another gentleman who is the cockpit of the aircraft like. We are going to listen to him after Professor G.S. Rao ji. Then word of thanks and wind up the session. Please stay.
Good evening to all of you. Everybody, second for us. So, all my colleagues from the Telangana chapter. It's a great opportunity given to us. Good evening, everybody. So, all my colleagues from our happiness double and triple. Thank you so much for all the things done. Nice.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir, for your very short and sweet message. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the cockpit of the aircraft like Mr. Venkateshwar ji. Venkateshwar ji is the Executive Secretary of AIMS. Please say a few lines, sir.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Prasad Rao Garu, and good evening to all the dignitaries. I would like to say, first of all, hearty congratulations to Professor Masood Sarji. He has been having a goal for quite some time to do something useful to the society as a whole, and more particularly in management education for the management community. Well, he did it now in the shape of this book, Management Lessons from Poetry. It is a highly valuable and relevant today. He has exhibited a great tenacity of purpose in this achievement. I am personally fortunate to have known him for over 11 years. Hope many more such books will emanate from his pen. Great regards.
Thank you so much, sir.
Prasad Rao Garu, may I have 1 minute to express my view, sir?
Yeah, please.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I do feel AIMS, the Augustus intellectually motivated, synergized atmosphere. I do feel as a privilege to be associated. Since I'm a friend of Masood Sahab, then I came over here. I'm happy to know that he is a person with different colors. When Foreman had defeated his rival, he said, when you wish upon a star, doesn't matter who you are. Anything your heart desires can come to you if you just don't give up on your dreams. Here, the third line, anything your heart desires can come to you. You see, myself, I am a Dr. Ataullah Khan Sanjari. I teach Urdu literature to Malayalam students in Sanskrit University having a Telugu background whose mother tongue is Urdu. That is this one. I am a friend of Masood Sahab, and I do feel that the privilege, I am very happy that he has done a miracle, and keep it up, we are with you. Then I have decided to I'm also a person of training, that is a Life Skills Association, Indian Association of Life Skills. I have decided to join with him in hands in ISTD. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Sinjari. Thank you so much for the wonderful words. Friends, Dr. Ravi, please.
Acharya is there and Shailesh Bhai is there. Yeah,
okay,
yeah. Let me give.
Thank you, Prasad Garu. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll exactly try to take 1.5 minutes. I have known Masood Bhai for the last 4 years, but his warmth and that friendly nature makes me believe that I know him for a lifetime. And our journey or his thought process using poems for management lessons was started. I discovered in a flight from Delhi to Hyderabad, and I was struck with one couplet he shared. And whenever I meet him, I repeat that. He said, "Kaif paida karo samandar ki tarah." कैफ पैदा करो समंदर की तरह बसते गहराइयां खामोशियां. And he said, in management, if you are looking at, always aim at depth of knowledge, breadth of application, and the sound of silence. Let your work make the noise. Now, if I have to, look at him and draw some inspiration and put it in some words, fitting to the occasion of releasing a book based on Urdu poetry and all, I am reminded of Rahat Indori's very popular, couplet. In fact, equally revolutionary poet for a equally revolutionary thinker among us, for Masood Bhai. These two lines, and I'll wind up. Says, "तूफानों से आंख मिलाओ, सैलाबों पर वार करो. तूफानों से आंख मिलाओ, सैलाबों पर वार करो. मल्लाहों का चक्कर छोड़ो, तैर का दरिया पार करो." And that is what he reflects as an individual. He comes as a very, very warm individual in terms of managing relationships, but very meticulous when it comes to anything that he takes up, including poetry. He takes poetry as seriously as any engineer would take machinery seriously. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I wish this book becomes a very successful piece of work, and most of the all the management aspirants, the management practitioners have this on their shelf to refer as and when they want to draw some nuggets of wisdom from poetry. Thank you so much.
Next,
Good evening.
Acharya ji. Acharya.
Good evening. Good evening. On the 11th hour. Yeah, good evening. At the outset, I thank everyone and I want to congratulate Professor Masood Ahmed for writing a wonderful book. And on this wonderful occasion, we are going to make this as one course, a 2-credit course in our institution. That's great. And out of 1,000 books which has been published recently, 800 books are already over. And out of 800, 100 books has been taken by Dr. Shailesh Sampati ji and 100 books from me. And Sudhir Sharma ji, bhai sahab.
Yeah, he's there, sir.
Sudhir Sharma ji, मोहब्बत करेंगे तो पुरानी वाली से करेंगे या नई वाली से करेंगे, लेकिन पहले बुक खरीदेंगे। हम तो मेरठ आने वाले हैं पुरानी वाली को देखने के लिए, जो आपको जोश जुनून दे रहे हैं। सुन रहे सुधीर भाई, मेरठ आना है या नहीं आना है? हमारे मसूद भाई के पीछे तो अपनी भाभी है, ये भी जानना जरूरी है कि कौन कौन भाभियां भी है। 4 तक जायज है, एक ही को तो बता रहे बुक में, और 3 कौन है ये देखना है। थैंक यू वंस अगेन, थैंक यू वेरी मच।
Yeah, thank you so much.
Prasad Raru.
Yeah.
This is Durga Prasad. Just a minute. Can I?
Please.
Thank you. So good evening, everybody. I could not join Hyderabad team.
Okay.
And a scheduled meeting, executive committee meeting of our board. I have to be there. So hearty congratulations to Masood. I received the book a couple of days back, and I'm not so familiar with either Hindi or Urdu, but most of the lessons and most of the couplets are relating to the OB and HR, as Professor Amar Rao and other members said. So we are planning to introduce this as a self-learning module, which is going to start from 15th. And our faculty started working on it. Hearty congratulations to Masood bhai. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Durga Prasad Garu. Yeah, Abhiram Garu, please, sir.
Just say 2 things, Prasad Garu. First of all, I'd like to congratulate Professor Masood for a fantastic book that he has written. So far, as a student of management, I knew the power of storytelling. And I also practice in many of my lectures, power of storytelling. And because from childhood, we have been trained to get out a message through stories. But after reading Mr. Masood's book, I realized the poetry way of teaching is also going to be equally or more powerful. And I was contemplating what is the difference between storytelling in a management class or a poetry telling and getting a message in a management class. 2 things I realized, and that was my realization after reading his book. One is the poetry has feelings. So whenever you want to have a great lecture and make an impact on the students, I think the feeling is very, very important. So the poet, or when you read a couplet, the feeling of the poet is also there. And the translations, I think, was very well done. So I feel that this can be a very good way of narrating. Apart from the feeling, I think the passion in which that is written, so much of message in such a short few words, I think makes very, very important. And I realized that less is more through poems. And I think we will practice that in my future lectures. So thank you very much. And again, congratulate.
Thank you so much, sir.
Over to Sailesh bhai.
Yeah, Sailesh ji, please. Professor Shailesh Sampati ji is the chairperson of Shiva Shivani Institute of Management, Shiva Shivani Group of Institutions, Hyderabad. Yes, sir, over to you.
Thank you, Professor Prasad Rao Garu. I know we have overshot, so
take only a minute or so to say that the idea of this management lessons from poetry could have come only from a stalwart. And this idea is, as we have heard through this evening, of Professor Bhushan. And this work could have been completed only by an equally able mind. And I would also say that this work is possible only by a Hyderabadi. Congratulations to Professor Masood, and thank you.
Thank you. And the last from our side, Professor Sharif is a management professor from Malaysia.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. According to Wordsworth, poetry is the spontaneous outflow of the inner feelings of mind. Yes, here management is also exploring the inner feelings of the humans, fundamentally. So this is going to be an excellent creation the world is going to experience. This is something where the world will learn how the soft feelings can be developed in managing formidable things. Formidable or unchallenging things can be made easy, simple, and satisfied with a very different way. I am pleased to be one among this group, even though I have been outside for more than 30 years. Thank you very much, everyone. All the best. Thank you. Bye. One more minute.
Yeah, Prasad Rauji, GS Rao wants to talk.
Yeah. Rao Garu.
Prasad Rao Garu?
Yeah, Professor GS Rao Garu, please.
Hello?
Yes, sir, please. We are able to hear you.
Yeah. You see, just to give us a minute, the Telangana AIMS chapter would like to felicitate Masood Bhai here. Just to be covered now. He will come to the center. See. Just give us 2 minutes.
Okay. Somebody should carry this one. Okay. No. Okay. It should come. I think here, इधर आ जाओ बस वो चले जा रही है अपने बेटे से कितने पढ़ते चलने दी अच्छा please come Ravi come Shailesh ji अక్కడ दूसरा
Yeah, we are able to see you. Wonderful. Congratulations once again to Professor Masood. And we also congratulate the team Telangana chapter of AIMS for doing this fantastic and scheduled thing. It's a surprise for all of us. Very happy to see the major members of this chapter and making it more memorable. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
One more minute for Shailesh. Yeah. Our senior most member. Ravi, join. Masood ji, Ravi.
Yeah. Professor Srinivas Acharya ji has felicitated, and then Professor Shailesh Sampati ji also felicitated Professor Masood Ahmed. Thank you so much. And other members joining this wonderful event. Thank you so much. Now, Masood ji, is it over?
Yeah, over.
Thank you so much for giving us permission to wind up the session. Before that, I wish to share a couple of thoughts, particularly proposing friends. I'm really very much excited today and indebted lot to the Association of Indian Management Schools and the chairperson, the president we call, Professor Sujata Mangraj, for giving the inputs about the association and various activities that are being done and also scheduled for the AIMS National Convention, and sharing her gown about this book. I thank Professor Sujata Madam for joining and leading from the front. I also thank Professor Harivansh Chaturvedi ji. Though he is a very busy man, spend some time with all of us, sharing his thoughts, sharing his insights, and taking all of us to 2012, the year 2012. keeping our memories be cherished forever. Thank you so much, Harivansh Chaturvedi ji. And I thank Professor Uday Salunke. I always tell everyone that Uday sir is a thought leader and an institution builder, and who always spreads lot of excitement and awesomeness when we associate with him in the physical, in person, at any conference, any convention, any event, lot of excitement that being spread. We are very much grateful to you, sir, for sharing your insights and thoughts. And we are also grateful and thankful to Dr. Shakti Kumar Gupta, the Medical Superintendent of AIIMS, New Delhi. Thank you so much, sir. Though it is an academic platform, but you could equally contribute your thoughts into this particular event. Thank you so much, sir. And I'm also grateful to Mr. D.N.V. Kumaraguru, Director, External Relations, ISB, for making this event so much, connected. Thank you so much. I thank the former presidents, the AIIMS presidents like, Professor Shekhar Chaudhary ji, Upinder Dhar ji, Shefali Gautam madam, Professor Apurva Palkar ji, Professor Ellen Bhagat, and the current executive board members who could not share because of the paucity of time. I thank Sri Bala Malladi, CEO, ACT FiberNet, and childhood friend of Professor Masood, for taking us into a different dimension. Thank you so much, Malladi Garu. Thank you so much for sparing your valuable time and spending your time with us. I am equally thankful to Professor Masood Ahmed for being the hero of the day, center of attraction, bringing all of us onto the same platform. I'm grateful and honored to welcome and listen to Professor M.R. Sir. Professor M.R. Rao Garu, he is a doyen of management education, and being there on this platform and sharing his thoughts, insights about the management education and also about the book. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. We are also though he is very young at heart, of course, the age does not matter here. He could continue the same amount of energy he could spread. We are very much grateful to you, Y.K. Bhushan ji. And we are grateful to all the members from other parts of the country and other parts of the world. Friends from Pakistan, Bangladesh, Bhutan, Nepal, and other countries, and faculty members of various institutions, various universities across the world. Not only the people in the Zoom meeting right now, there are so many people watching this program, enjoying this session, in various other media of platforms. Even apart from the social media, there is electronic media also is taking part in recording this kind of program, and I think they are going to live cast. They are going to cast it later. Thank you so much. And last, not the least, we should also appreciate the efforts put in by the Secretariat of AIIMS, Association of Indian Management Schools. The office is being led by Mr. Venkateshwar ji and his team, Mr. Sunil, Rohini, other members of the team, day in and day out. And friends, I would like to mention one more important thing here. AIIMS is the first professional body to start this kind of, the online webinars and online seminars. This is the first, professional body. Now other bodies are now following it. So we are very happy to say that the AIIMS has become the thought leader in management education, introducing so many concepts, so many people to the society, to the education fraternity. Thank you so much. Thank you all once again for being with us from 5 o'clock. In fact, 4:30 onwards, Madam Sujata Mangraj and other members are there. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. And have a good day. Thank you so much.